Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Katie Murray,
And I'm Andy Watts.
and this is Undercover with INSTANDA.
Whether you're starting your
starting
day
your
with
day with
us
us,
or winding your day down.
it's a great time to peek behind the curtain of the lives of insurance innovators. Who are they? What gets them moving in the morning to revolutionize insurance? What makes them tick?
Yeah, good stuff. Thanks, Katie. Well, today we're privileged to be joined by Gerry Barret, Managing Director of Insurance at Hamilton Fraser. It's a UK-based MGA. Thank you, Gerry, for joining us today.
Good afternoon or good morning, depending on where you are in the world.
Yeah, very good. Now, we understand that Hamilton Fraser has a special birthday coming up next year, 30 years, we think.
That's right, Andy. So Hamilton Fraser started in humble beginnings, not too far from where we're based now, but in North London in the UK in 1996.
Wow. That is
Yeah.
exciting.
Yeah, I mean, it is, and it's like a lot of businesses coming up for 30 years old. There's an interesting and I guess stories of intended strategy and then opportunity along the way. So I've been with the business I'm in my 13th month, so I'm kind of the new kid around here. The business started in the part that I'm managing now, so it started as an insurance broker in two lines of business, and those two lines of business still maintain as our biggest part of the insurance business today. So that's a medical malpractice scheme for the aesthetics sector, which has grown hugely and changed a lot over the last 30 years. And also in the private rental sector, where we run a big scheme for UK landlords. And that in itself is an interesting story because the business had a pivot back in 2007, so 11 years into its story. I guess UK government were looking to tidy up and clean up and support the rented part of the sector and bringing in new regulation to protect consumers and tenants. And as part of that, they launched a scheme to hold deposits between the landlord and the tenant, an independent body. And the government appointed or awarded 3 contracts, and Hamilton Fraser won and was awarded one of those contracts. And so we built a large and diverse offering for the landlord sector off the basis of the scale from 2007 on a deposit scheme as well. So that's now a larger part than the insurance part of the business.
That's interesting, isn't it? Because in a sense, I mean, the amount of successful businesses that at some point in their journey have had a pivot or they've seized an opportunity that they didn't foresee, that then has become a critical part of how they've managed to expand the business. So it sounds like Hamilton Fraser has been open to opportunities, and when it's seen it, it's pounced and done a good job at helping to grow the business that way.
Yeah, it has, Andy, and that's one of the big reasons I joined. So we've got an enormous opportunity within the landlord sector, and I'm a guy who's worked in insurance now for 20 years, and the opportunity to scale the insurance business on the landlord side is enormous, and I guess that's what I've been doing and continue to do over the last 12 months.
Yeah, can you tell us a bit about yourself and your background before Hamilton Fraser? It'd be interesting to get.
Yeah, of course, and I'm also coming up for an important and lengthy birthday. So I graduated in Scotland, and on graduation I moved south, seeking fortune, I guess, like a lot of immigrants to England in 1996 as well, and I started training as an accountant, but in the utilities and energy sector. Qualified within a couple of years, continued to work in that, but I never got out of bed in the morning thinking I've got some trial balances to prepare or some P&Ls or balance sheets. And so I got the opportunity to pivot myself about 8 years into my career and sort of, I guess, step away from accountancy, move into the insurance sector and product management. And I've kind of flipped in between utilities and insurance a few times over the last 30 years. But 12 months ago, or so 13 months ago, when I joined Hamilton Fraser. That was a desire. I'd been back in energy for about 2 years, managing the commercial side of the small medium enterprise business for British Gas, the biggest energy provider in the UK. And I was missing insurance, so I wanted to get back in. And
Right.
when I found the Hamilton Fraser story, I wanted to be a big part of it.
Yeah, no, very good.
That's awesome. Very interesting. So, Gerry, I have the most interesting and the most important question, I think, of the episode today. Can you tell me who Hammy and Fraser are?
Yeah, they are. Look, they're my two favourite members of staff now. That I mean, hopefully anyone else who's going to watch this from Hamilton Fraser isn't going to kind of feel a little bit down about that. But Hamilton and Fraser joined the business 5 years ago, so just before COVID and just before lockdown. I mean, who can believe that's actually 5 years ago? It feels like moments ago. And so, like a lot of people during lockdown, one of the things that was really, really popular was a family dog. And so the plan for Hamilton and Fraser was hatched not too long before we all learned about COVID and lockdown. But Hamilton and Fraser were born in January 2000, and they were picked up by Eddie, who's our CEO, and Carly, who's his executive assistant. I think 14 days before we all knew about lockdown within the UK. So yeah, they are probably best described as office stress dogs. Might be the best way, not to cause stress, although they might do every now. But to help relieve it, and I'm a big, and again, that's part of the culture and part of what attracted me to join this organisation. So I've kind of grown up with the pets and the family, and kind of we understand the benefit. And here we go, got some lovely.
How adorable!
So what you got there on the left-hand side is a picture of Hamilton and Fraser sitting on our boardroom table. For those with keen eyes, they'll recognise the Dalek that is sitting in between them. And where we're based in North London, there's a kind of long history locally and still alive today of movie making and television. So we've got a Doctor Who themed boardroom. So if you can see all the way into the background, you'll see some more Doctor Who figures within that, and even within the office, actually, over my shoulder here, you've got some Harry Potter figurines, and I've got a Gladiator poster behind here. So the whole office is themed around the movie and the film industry. But yeah, you've got the two little pups there in various states around the office, and my own favourite pictures on the bottom right-hand side, where you can see them enjoying their bath. I don't know if they're really enjoying it, but yeah, it needs to happen every now and again.
They are adorable.
Yeah,
oh my goodness, they would put the biggest smile on your face.
Yeah, don't they just? I mean, it's nice that you've got. I mean, you go to work, to pay bills, and but actually, we want to be part of a community and make some connections. And it's nice that you've kind of taken the time out as a business to be able to set the right conditions within the office. I think it's a really smart idea and a heartwarming one. So
yeah, look, and there is a benefit, right? Because this is kind of well researched and tested. So patting and stroking a dog lowers cortisol, which is the stress hormone,
right,
and it increases oxytocin, which is the feel-good hormone. So there's kind of good scientific support and theory behind it, and they're kind of great to have around, and it gives people a chance to take them out for a walk and get 5 minutes away from the desk.
Yeah, terrific. Nice story. So Gerry, tell me a bit about your first 13 months at Hamilton Fraser then. How's it been for you?
Yeah, really, really enjoyable. So a big part of what attracted me to the organisation's culture and size and scale. So I've spent best part of 30 years in corporates with big organisations with over 10,000 employees, and if I look at Hamilton Fraser, we're probably in the mid-size, so we've got just under 250 employees in total, and what's great about here is that things move a lot faster. Decision making is quicker, and we can, when we get some insight, we can execute really, really quickly. And the INSTANDA product and system that we use within the insurance business helps with that as well. So yeah, a big part of me joining here was, I'd been working in a big corp, but on an agile basis, and learning that over the last 5 years. And it was still moving frustratingly slow, and that's not the case here. We get insight, we've got decision makers on site, and we implement within hours and days.
Well, I mean, going back to the point about pivoting, you're seizing an opportunity. You need to have that flexibility in a business, don't you? And it's it's so much easier if you've got that flexibility if you can make decisions by the people who are accountable quickly.
Yeah, and the great thing is, we can measure the benefits of the change, or not, if we get it wrong.
Right.
Very, very quickly. And in the last 12 months, we've grown new business sales by 40%, which I and the team are extremely proud of. And we're just kind of now about to close the month of February, but January grew another 50% on what we achieved last year. So we've doubled our run rate of new business sales within a 12-month period, which is a great place to be.
Yeah, congratulations to that. Sounds like you made a good move.
Yes, incredible. Congrats to you all on that. So, Gerry, I know you talked about how much your passion is for movie theaters because of the office location, but I also hear that musical festivals interest you as well. So, you have any upcoming concerts or festivals?
Yeah, I mean, so recently, a couple of weeks ago, I'm stuck, sadly, as I'm a man of my age, in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. So a couple of weeks ago, I saw a tribute band, not the real thing, but I have seen the real thing a couple of times, of Pearl Jam. So they kind of engage that 80s and 90s sort of rock thing. And just this morning, I secured 2 tickets for the Royal Albert Hall in May. And again, for those Katie, if you haven't been at the Royal Albert Hall, just give it a little Google or have a look at it after. It's a tremendous music venue and site in West London. But and there I'm going to see Daryl Hall, and from Hall and Oates fame. So he sadly hasn't got his partner playing with him. I think they've fallen out a number of times over a long period. But I'm really looking forward to that. That's one of those bands, I guess, that transcends my parents and into me, and even my own children. I've sort of passed that baton on. So yet to decide who I'm going to bring with me. But yeah, Daryl Hall will be the next one.
Well, that's super exciting.
Yeah, that sounds terrific. I mean, the Albert Hall is one of the great venues in the UK, isn't it? It's nice and intimate. I mean, there's 4,000 or so seats, so it's big enough audience to get an atmosphere, but also no one's really too far away from the performer. I think I saw Simple Minds at the Albert Hall a few years back, and Leonard Cohen. I saw him at the. So it's very,
I think it's a case now. There's a lot of great bands and great artists from the 60s and 70s who are still with us and still hanging on in there. Right. So I'm at the stage where now it's like, if I haven't seen them, I've got to do my best to try and see them while they're still there and still playing live.
Yeah, that's the thing, because you might not have an opportunity in the future.
And to see them at such a kind of iconic venue and location, it's just an opportunity not to be missed.
Yeah, very good. So circling back to creating memorable experiences, what does great customer service mean to Hamilton Fraser?
Yeah, good question, Andy. So, what we are, and this is another part that attracted me to the organisation. It is and I talked to Eddie, our CEO, about this, having worked in corporates with thousands of employees and huge multi-million-pound marketing budgets and agencies and consultancies on tap. What I love about this organisation is that it's full of experts. So within the 250 employees, we've got true experts in the field that will know more, because I've worked with some of the consultancies in previous organisations, than what a lot of the sort of big four blue chip consultants will know. So with that expertise, and this is kind of a nuance within the insurance business. So it's the first insurance business I've worked in that give advice. So we work on an advised basis, and so what I love to hear is that, you know, rather than have an office, I sit in amongst the teams at Hamilton Fraser because I like to hear our people talking to our customers. You know, so we're a digital first organisation, but we leverage our market knowledge in the sort of niche areas that we operate in. So, you know, we're not. There's scale players that are bigger than us, but if I take the landlord and the property example, while we don't compete on Google PPC, pay-per-click, actively for that side of the business, we rank number one on Google search because of our approach and content, because of our expertise. And so that's what and how we leverage our customer experience. So deep insight, informed by experts, informed by analytics, and we really, really listen to our customers, and we give them the journey and the experience that they need. And when they want to and need to speak to an expert, we don't stop them. We take the friction away and allow easy access to our people. And I've seen that done wrongly in the past, where people have, you know, tried to force channel adoption, but haven't had the channel ready to give customers what they want and need. Because we don't operate like that here. We're experts in our field, and we give good advice in a digital first manner.
Because sometimes that digital first can mean, for some other businesses, actually making it difficult to speak to a human,
Right.
Which is probably the most frustrating thing when you want to speak to a human. And it sounds like you've got a good marriage between, you know, automation, but then being able to have that interaction, personal, with that advice and that knowledge, and that seems like you've found a, you know, good balance.
Yeah, we have here, Andy, and I've learned by mistakes, having seen it in other organisations, where we took away access to voice channels, where we took telephone numbers away from content, found it, and made it difficult for customers to get in contact. And that was in the utilities and the energy side, and that didn't go down well with customers, didn't go down well with regulators either. And lessons eventually learned, but it was like a lot of things, you know, you learn by other people's mistakes. And you know, I see customers are like water, right? You might, in other organisations, you sort of try to force them down a path, but like water, customers will find their way into an organisation and contact you. And you know, making it difficult is the wrong thing. You've got to make it easy. And if you build the journey and experience in the right way in a digital thing, customers will stay there and use it. If they want, if they need expertise, you give them an easy opportunity to get access to that.
Yeah, absolutely. And along the same lines, Gerry, about customer service, tell me a moment in your career where you truly felt the impact of insurance in someone's life.
Yeah, look, and thinking about insurance, right? You know, we're all the same. Well, I guess if you're a glass half empty or a glass half full side, that's a very within the insurance experience. And so when I think of that, I think of claims. And you know, that's when you need the product. It's not about purchasing and the efficient path to purchase. That's when you need to use the product or the policy. And sometimes that can be a poor and horrific experience at times. I guess at the same time, you know, it can also be quite exciting in the claims team and across the insurance market and industry. I've worked across a number of product lines over my sort of 20-year period within insurance, and you know, probably the most interesting example on a claims side when I was at the post office, which organisation, they used to have the biggest travel insurance business within the UK, probably in the early days of digital when other people kind of eating their lunch a little bit nowadays. But one of my most memorable and notable good customer outcomes on a pretty horrific occasion was a client, a customer who was in the Falkland Islands, which are in the South Atlantic off the coast, so UK territory, South Atlantic off the coast of Chile and Argentina. And the customer was bitten by a sea lion, and it it got infected, and we had to charter a space on a US warship.
Wow.
For the customer, to take them back to Argentina for treatment. Which again, when you look at the reach in your hour of absolute need in an isolated part of the world, we were able to help the customer. Now, that when you look at value for money, you're talking in the tens to hundreds of thousands of pounds to help the customer on that claim. But that's what you do because that's the promise to the customer. I think from memory, it took something like 36 to 48 hours across a choppy South Atlantic, but a good customer outcome eventually.
Yeah, it sounds like potentially life-saving by the sounds of things. I mean, we work in an industry that provides such a social need. Sometimes we lose a bit of sight of that, but actually it's pretty important. And that's a terrific story.
That is.
That's a good one. So it's interesting that you got a birthday this year as Hamilton Fraser. INSTANDA has as well. We'll be 10 years old in June, so we're looking forward to that. So tell us a little bit about Hamilton Fraser's journey with INSTANDA. How we've been part of your business.
Yeah, look, so we've got. I look at it as three parts of the insurance business. We've got our medical malpractice piece, we've got our property side that I've kind of touched on. We've also got probably more, and you recognise it, a traditional UK kind of niche broken side, which we probably look at it as it's growing, but it's growing slowly, and it's accommodation business for a lot of the clients and commercial contacts that we get through other lines of the business, and we don't use INSTANDA for that. Where we use INSTANDA is where we've got what we call digital schemes, and so that's been an important part for 24/7 access for our customers, and it's to be. I'm old enough, sadly, to remember when digital trading was like a new fangled thing. Now it's expected, and you won't be around if you haven't got it. But what's been great in my sort of last 12, 13 months here is, so I've been aware of INSTANDA. In fact, when I was at Post Office, when we were pitching for a new system for the travel insurance business, INSTANDA was on the early list. So that was another reason on why Hamilton Fraser was attracted to me, because I wanted to get my hands on this software as a service that I'd been aware of for sort of 6-7 years, and it's fulfilling the promise. It's flexible, it's configurable, and you don't need to code to be able to use it. So it's quick to market. And I guess if I think about, I mentioned earlier, agile and how we operate here. So, there's I do a little bit of sort of reading. One of the areas that interests me is systems thinking, and sort of learning over the years of agile and systems thinking. There's a great book called Black Box Thinking by Matthew Syed. If you haven't heard of him or heard of it, I really highly recommend it. So a little bit backstory of Matthew Syed. He's an author and journalist with the Times of London, and he is a former UK Olympic athlete at table tennis.
Table tennis, yeah.
And the table tennis story is how he opens his first book, which is called Bounce. I won't sort of ruin the theme of the book, but his follow-up book to that, Black Box Thinking, it's I guess an odyssey with a number of interesting stories through different industries and life experiences on how a systems thinking approach can make things better, more systematic, measured. And then one of the sort of big learnings I've had through that is in the book it's called RCT, randomized control testing. I guess a simpler way of thinking that in a digital basis on how we use INSTANDA is A/B testing or ABC testing when we do customer journeys. And I remember in my early days of designing customer experience and journeys, I'll get very passionate and champion my own ideas naively at that time, thinking my ideas were perhaps better than someone else's. And I've been round the block long enough to put it in front of the customer, test it through randomized control tests, and let the customer decide. The customer will give you the right answer, and that's how we use INSTANDA here at Hamilton Fraser. It's flexible, it's quick to market, it's measurable, and we see the benefit of that.
It's interesting though, because there's all that capability within INSTANDA, but it actually comes down to the attitude you as a business take towards how you exploit that capability. So, what you're describing there is, reacting to opportunities as they come, testing two different methods, and really getting some success out of it. So it's not just having a solution that's flexible; it's also using it in a flexible way. It sounds, an important part of what you've been doing.
Yeah, it is, Andy. Look, I mentioned earlier, we've improved sales performance by 40% last year, and
Brilliant.
Another 50% so far, 6 weeks into this year.
That's just incredible. Gerry, what is on Hamilton Fraser's agenda right now? Any major projects on your plate?
So I guess 3 words, I would think, 3 areas. Growth. That's why I'm here. And doing that now, and it's working. Automation, and analytics. I mentioned the property business. So we launched a portal to join together all of the businesses within the property side. It's called Total Property. Launched it in May last year, and that was the brainchild of Eddie, the CEO. It was an idea he's had in mind for over 10 years, and now the technology has caught up with the idea. So we're in the process of dialing in all of the diverse products that fit in the UK private rented sector into that system and integrating it, of which our INSTANDA journey is part of that. And we're taking one step at a time. We're calling it a crawl, walk, run approach. So we put in the crawl approach at the back end of last year in Q4, and in the first half of this year we're on the walk stage, and that's going to be the sort of vehicle for further growth second half of this year and into 2026.
That's incredible.
Yeah, that sounds very exciting. So it never stops, does it? The business, terrific. So, Gerry, we could spend all day talking to you. It's been terrific having you. But one last question: what continues to excite you about the world of insurance?
Look, so I arrived, like a lot of people, I arrived in the insurance industry by either accident or opportunity. But I really, really enjoy it, and it's my industry now of choice. I left another, interesting industry because my belief is if you can operate successfully in the UK insurance industry, there's pretty much everything that you can learn. And you've got pricing, you've got customers, you've got analytics, you've got commercial, you've got regulation, governance. It goes on and on. So it can be taxing, it can be demanding, but it's so competitive. If you can succeed here, you can succeed in any industry. It's exciting, and it continues to be exciting, and it will. I think the dawn of AI is the next thing, to get our head around and understand how we can utilize that, how we can leverage that, and how we can again take and make advantage and improvements for customers as well.
Yeah, I mean, AI is an amplifier, isn't it? So the opportunities for it to do good may be equally weighed up by it to doing harm. But I think in the insurance, there's lots of good opportunities for AI to really unlock things that we can't see at the moment. So we kind of share that enthusiasm about it. And you can't go anywhere in an insurance conference without someone mentioning AI anyway, because it is the buzzword.
Yeah, and I guess it's probably where software as a service at insurance conferences were 10 years ago, Andy. Full circle.
Yeah, exactly. And then before you know it, it'll become all pervasive. That's but going from an idea to full actualization across the market, that time is getting smaller and smaller, and the way the business moves and the technology's influence is much faster. So I think with Hamilton Fraser having a kind of agile approach, decision makers on tap to be able to make decisions in a timely manner, that's just got more and more important with things like AI around the corner, or not around the corner anymore, here in front of us.
It's here, right? And how we're working here, how I'm working as well, is that I'm a hands-on data guy. My accountancy background probably gives me a big bias in that way, but we're insight-led here. We use the data, we use the insight, we use the analytics that are on hand to help inform our decision making.
Yeah.
And it's working.
Well, that's incredible. Well, that's a wrap. Thank you so much, Gerry, for joining us today. We really appreciate you joining us and just sharing how Hamilton Fraser keeps its policyholders undercover. So until next time, this is Katie Murray.
And Andy Watts from Undercover
with INSTANDA. Thank you.